It's March 16th, 2015. So as I was saying, you know, some people just call people by their last names for whatever reason, but often with people who work as cops or in the military, they call each other by the last name because on the name tag, typically you go by the last name. You know, Sergeant so-and-so, you know, use the last name. And they just would shorten it up just to use the last name only. So he was like, what's Lowe's number? And then I'd tell him, you know, and then and anyway, just thinking about something that I have to do tomorrow. And he used to say to me, get low. You know, get low on the phone. He wanted to get low on the phone. And so he's like, what's her number again? And then I'd say it. And so like this is kind of, there were several reasons for how the song came up and how it came to my mind and how I created it. But when the song came out by Lil Jon or whatever, it was like a club hit. It was another one of my songs that went right to the top. Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't looked that one up. I don't know if that was on the very top of the charts, but it was at least played in the clubs a lot. And I knew it was my song, one of my songs. And so while I was at this club, right, I have already explained I got stalked over to. Mike Tanzer comes over, starts dancing low, you know, around my belly button, basically. And, which, you know, I didn't, as I've said, I didn't really like because, for one thing, I didn't want to have my belly focused on. For another thing, it was like public kind of, too much PDA, like too kind of showy for public for me. And then also, you know, and I didn't know who he was and why he was doing that. I mean, he wasn't the first person to try to dance like that around me, but I just noticed it. And then the other thing was, I had a problem with someone getting right next to my belly button because when I was a kid, I had my belly button bitten off. And I'm not kidding. I've written about it, but yeah, I had like my belly button, my navel, bitten off, like a piece of it, and then some guy spitting it off to the side. And so, you know, having someone's mouth right next to my belly button was not something I was really like thrilled about. And here's the song, Get Low, Get Low. And as I said, you know, I saw these people in the balcony all watching me and with these horrible, really mean expressions. And the other thing that was, well, anyway, so then, you know, as I've said, Mike got me over to his house. Eric had made a show, a pretense of, oh, you know, you have to come with me, when that was really not her motive. I saw her expression. She was like smirking over at Mike. She had used the same triggers to get me to not go with her while trying to look like I was supposed to go with her. And my mom, Dixie, had been forced or willingly or whatever, or one of the Dixies, whether that one was my mom or not, tried to get me to do the same thing by the same programming techniques. And I remember one specific instance, for example, that would match what Erica Ballinger did when she was pretending like she was really desperate to have me go with her in the car, but really I was supposed to not go with her in the car. Another situation exactly like that occurred at a place called Jenny's Shoes. and it's in Coos Bay. And my mom said we were going to go into this store to look at some shoes, and she went to look around at shoes. And so I was looking around at shoes with her, my mom, you know, and oh, anyway, and some guy came in to the place, and he said, hey, can you come with me over here? He said, I need someone to do this. He said, I can pay you about this much money. Or he said, he said, come with me. Or actually, I don't even know if he said anything about money. He just said, come with me over here. I need you to come over to my house, and I've got something to show you. And I don't remember exactly how he put it, but he was not even someone that I knew. And I possibly knew him somehow subconsciously, or maybe I thought that I knew him, or maybe I don't know what I thought. All I know is that my mom was saying, no, don't go, the exact same way that Erica Ballinger was doing it at this club. And she was saying this to me inside the store at Jenny's Shoes. And at Jenny's Shoes at the store, my mom had said that she was maybe going to look at shoes for herself, maybe for me, but she decided that after I took off and went with this guy, what I was told is that we were looking around for shoes for Katie Middleton. So basically, Kate Middleton is going to get a pair of shoes of some kind from Jenny's Shoes because I took off, supposedly because I took off and left with some guy acting like some kind of like a prostitute or something, or like somebody who was going to do something for someone, or like, you know, why wouldn't I stay with my mom, that kind of a thing. And I didn't really know what he wanted, but he did seem sort of lascivious. But I know at the time I did what I was basically programmed to do. And my mom looked kind of depressed. She didn't look really happy about, at first, she didn't look really happy about being there at Jenny's Shoes and about this guy coming over and testing out this whole thing with me. And then seeing me go with him instead of staying with my mom. And, but then later, it was either that same Dixie or a different Dixie. She had kind of a smirk on her face to someone else. And it was possibly a different Dixie. But they tested this whole thing out of having me, like, having my mom plead with me, basically, plead and beg me to stay with her and don't go off with this guy. And, but I was already programmed to do the other thing. You know, they had already had me programmed to do that other thing. So they basically tested it out there at Jenny's Shoes, and I remember these women who were there, and they were smirking. Like, as I started to go out the door with this guy, I noticed how they looked. And then when I came back around, after this guy then took off, and I didn't know why, you know, he was doing what he was doing, but then I went back to the store, and my mom had picked up some shoes for Jenny. And then these women that were there, one was Barb Greenman, and they were all smirking about it and thought it was funny because I looked trashy and like I was disrespectful to my mom. And then they were saying, as they looked over at my mom, they said, "It's Katie." And they said that in front of me. "It's Katie." Like, she's such a slut. Your daughter, or this girl Cameo, who just takes off like that. You know, tisk tisk. And secretly you could tell they were thrilled. I mean, they were just elated by the success of their programming of me as a little girl and kid. You know, because I was a very young teen girl at that time. And they had plans to use that, I guess, if I survived being killed, they had plans to use that against me later, to have me look trashy. And so they practiced that with my mom at Jenny's Shoes. And then, so later when I was over at this club with Mike, and he was doing the same thing, and then Erica pulled this whole stunt. Oh yeah, she put on a great act. She looked like she was really just pleading with me and begging me to go with her in the car. When really, here she was facilitating rape success. You know, she was acting as a driver, basically, an accessory to rape, more than one time, with Robin Bechtold once, and and then again with Mike Tanzer. And I already knew that her family knew Mike Tanzer's. Her family knew Mike Tanzer's because I'd seen all of them together at FBI offices, inside of the FBI offices. And, you know, can I say for sure that's what their official work, that's the agency their official work is with? I'm not sure. I mean, Mike seemed a little more like tied into CIA, would seem more that type, or maybe his mom would. But I did see them at the FBI offices. So, you know, so here is this. So I guess that's another thing. I already described, you know, how Erica begged me not to go, and how she used some triggers. And maybe it's hard to understand, okay, well, exactly what were these triggers, quote unquote, and like, how are you justifying that? You know, it is really hard to describe everything, because I can't describe everything, because some of the things they did are things that I probably wouldn't even know. Like, because like I said, they didn't just use verbal cues. They used physical ones, like signs, hand signs, or signals that that were drilled into me to remember, but which I wouldn't necessarily distinctly think of later. And so Erica Ballinger basically did the exact same thing that my mom did, copied my mom in that scene, which was something that I had been programmed to do. And so part of the thing I remember I said to her, even as I said, "You're not my mom." I said, "Leave me alone, you're not my mom." I guess it's because she reminded me of that she was my mom. But regardless, it was the exact same thing that was supposed to trigger me to do the exact opposite. To not stay with my mom. To not stay with Erica. To instead compel me and force me, basically, to go with this man, whoever this man was, for whatever reason, because of this programming they'd done of me. And so, you know, from that situation, and this place called Jenny's Shoes, that's in, I already said it, but it was in Coos Bay. So, like, obviously, I mean, they did a ton of programming work of me in this area. And so after that happened, and I was in the taxi with him, he drove to his apartment or whatever, and that was supposedly next to this Catholic church, and he raped me, telling me he wanted to go down on me, and on a bed that was exactly like Judge Gillespie's bed had been, white sheets, white comforter, everything. So they basically just layered everything that they did to me. They layered it and kept practicing it, making me practice it. And then they did it so much that I think their goal was like, let's see if this works a decade from now. And they're already experienced and practicing, the government is, in their techniques of programming people and torturing them. So they already know what formulas work for long-term retention and forcing someone to do something because of torture triggers. Because someone's afraid of being hurt. And so it's not like they were using me because I was some new experiment, you know, person that they had going on. They were just using and implementing their old formulas to use against me, so they had defenses for themselves because they were stealing so much money from me. And, you know, trillions of dollars, and I do not exaggerate. So I have to look up that song Get Low and see what number it ranked as.